Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I've been using iOS 26 Beta 9 for the past couple of days at this point. And in this video, I'm going to give you my overall experience running iOS 26 Beta 9. I'm going to talk about how the experience has been, battery life, battery health, and performance. And I'm also going to run a Geekbench score since I haven't ran one since updating to iOS 26, since I've been running the entire beta for about at least a week. Now, as far as my performance, or rather some new features first on iOS 26, well, I've covered a lot of new features like the updated lock screen. One thing I really like with the lock screen is when you swipe up on the lock screen, if you have the large clock or any clock, your notifications, or the wallpaper rather, it will get darker. I believe that was new in Beta 4 to make it easier to read the notifications on the lock screen. And I also like the fact that you can have a large clock. Now, if you want to customize that clock, all you got to do is use the little grabber in the bottom right corner. And that is how you make the clock really large in iOS 26. Liquid glass is also one of the newest features. If I go into this Apple Music here, you can see as I drag it over from library to radio to home, it is a really great feature and it has a nice animation. And I also like the fact when you go to a lock screen, it has a really nice animation, and the animation appears sort of behind the home screen, sort of seeps through with a glass effect before eventually. Let me clear out my notifications as it will be much easier to see. I'm going to clear these notifications here. You can see the home screen as it seeps through, and then it disappears. That is a really nice animation along with this bouncy effect in iOS 26. Now, as far as performance, running this update with all the liquid glass and updated features, well, if I go into podcasts where we even have more liquid glass, iOS 26 performs, as I've mentioned already, exceptionally well. I like the updates to liquid glass. The beta has been running smooth, and I've installed it at public beta 5. I'm not going to be one of those people who will install beta 1, as it will be quite buggy. But I will install every update going forward at either beta 3 or the RC or even beta 4. But podcast does load up exceptionally well. If we do some scrolling here, everything seems to work as it should. Now, if I go into the app library here, there was a little bit of lag. But if we go into the app library, it does scroll up pretty good. Sometimes there is lag from time to time, like when I update to iOS 26, at least I did on Saturday. Last Saturday, it was a little bit laggy, as older iPhones like the 12 does get warm and the update can throttle. But after that, it seems to perform just like it would on iOS 18, exceptionally great. Now, as far as battery life, I never mentioned this, but battery life, the battery graph got a huge update. If we give it a second to load here, you can see up at the top here, it says when it was last charged. It says that really large, and it was last charged to 93%. Not sure why it wasn't charged to 100. Or wait, no. It says that at the bottom here, last charged to 100. But it gives you your current status of 93%. Now, if I go into the battery graph here, I've had the screen on for 1 hour, 9 minutes screen on time, 34 minutes of screen off time. And the iPhone is at 93%, like the battery graph mentioned. That is pretty great. Now, as far as my battery health, I'm still at 80%. Quite surprisingly, I've updated to iOS 26, and the battery health is still good. Now, let's check it on the iPad. As far as battery life on the iPad, if I go into my battery graph here, and I am using the new windowing mode, I've had the screen on for 56 minutes screen on time, 5 minutes of screen off time. And that is battery health on the iPad. I unfortunately cannot check, or battery life rather, but I can't check the battery health as this doesn't support it, unlike the newer iPads. Now I want to go ahead and run a Geekbench score. Geekbench completed, and on my iPhone, I scored 2009 for single core, 4,580 for multi-core. And if we take a look at last week, when I was on iOS 18.6.2, I scored 2061 single core, 4576 for multi-core. And on the iPad, I scored 2129 for single core, 5169 for multi-core. And if I go to when I ran it last week, I scored 2089 single core, 4930 for multi-core. As far as what's next from Apple, well, we are pretty much close at this point to the Apple event. That's the next thing. The next thing is going to be the Apple event, where at the event we're going to see the iPhone 17, 17 Air, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max, Apple Watch Ultra 3, Apple Watch SE 3, and Apple Watch Series 11, as well as new AirPods Pro 3. We're going to see all of that on September 9th, and I am going to talk about that in tomorrow's podcast that I'm going to do probably sometime tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to have that podcast out. Then we're going to get iOS 26 RC. And because I'm running the developer beta, I will be updating to the update. Then after that, it will be the final release. But since I'll have the RC, I will have it early. So I'm still going to make a video, though, on the 15th for the expected release. And I prepared an update video the Sunday before. But as far as iOS 26.1, I'm not going to run the initial beta. I might install beta 3 or beta 4 or maybe the RC, but I'm not going to run the first couple of betas. So as far as what else, well, that's it for iOS 26 beta 9. It is a great update. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.